Everybody, welcome back. Doing another character review video for you. This time, Yelena Belova. So she's part of the S&M team, Skilletary. I've talked about this team a little bit. I'd have to say that at the moment, I'm a little bit cautiously pessimistic about this team. I'm not, the whole concept that they're going to counter Marauders and it's kind of an equal, they've got to be on par. That concerns me because all the Marauders are already really strong, and unless you build her and Red Guardian up, as well as some characters that you likely didn't have built up, except for maybe Killmonger and Punisher, that's a lot of resources to maybe counter a team. So even though it's one of the harder teams in war. So otherwise, it's maybe a decent offense team, taking out some guys there. Anyway, so this is about Yelena. So I'm going to look at her kit, briefly touch on her T4s, and then also look at the stats and kind of see where she ranks up and just give her my overall impression of the character. So let's go check her out.
Bring me WolverThor!
Alright, so now we've got the character, the abilities here. So we got her basic called Widow Strike. This is attack primary target for 200% damage, gain an assist from a random skill military or Black Widow ally, which, let's be real, this is right now, this isn't going to happen. There's no reason to have Black Widow on this team. I like that they threw some lore in there, but I don't know. If this character or any ally has stealth, then a 50% chance to transfer 2 positive effects, excluding taunt or on primary target to self. So the T4s here give us 50% extra damage and a 100% chance to transfer the two positive effects. So what you want to do here is honestly try to use this when she's stealth so that you can transfer the positive effects. So, and you obviously want that the 100% chance versus the 50% chance. So I could say that the T4s on this are probably going to be, you're going to want it, given that it really depends how long she stays stealth. If we're finding that she's really not staying stealth that much, and she does gain stealth when she gets offense up, and we're going to see that in a second. Yeah, so that's an okay basic. Again, it'll depend on the damage a bit there. Her first move, called Going Dark, transfer 1 positive effect, excluding taunt, from primary target to self and all skill military allies. Attack primary target for 240% damage and apply Disrupted for 1 turn. Gain 1 stealth up to a maximum of 3. So she can stack that stealth, which is nice, at least with this ability. Depending on the other ones, the other ability she gets, well, basically, where's it at? It's her passive down here. Well, you see, where is it? On offensive gain stealth. So, well, I don't know if that's necessarily going to add to the stacks of stealth. The T4s on the special are 40% damage and the Disrupted for 2 turns, and then gain +2 stealth. To me, this is an absolute necessity, not just for the Disrupted, but you want that extra chance to get the stealth and the ability here, because of this ability here, to get some more positive effects. But again, if it's just for, 2 turns, by the time you get to the basic, is this particular stealth still going to be around to transfer that? I don't think so. Maybe it will. So I guess it's you go, then you stealth, you ultimate, and you still have that second turn of stealth, and so you're basicing while stealth. So I guess to get that basic, to transfer the 2 positive effects, then you do need that, at least for the first one. So that's a solid ability. Percent damage-wise is just okay, but the Disrupted for 2 turns is really what you're going to need. And this being the first ability you're going to use with some speed up, that's where you're going to potentially counter those Marauders by putting the Disrupted on Strife. The ultimate, Das Vidania. This is your, I think it's second turn ability, because you get this one when you go first, and then for the second turn, it'll be full. Attack primary and adjacent targets for 250% damage, and clear all deflect. I made a comment earlier that this clear all deflect on a second turn might feel a little bit late, to be honest. I feel like you've already got, a team moving around a little bit. But I guess for your team's second wave of attacks, it is clearing the deflects on those particular characters around your target. So I guess it's not bad, and it's clearing all of them, and you don't need a T4 to clear them all. It just gets them out of there. This attack has 20% extra crit chance, which, by the way, crit chance, maybe you start playing with her with the Dad Bros. Long Shot and Shatterstar, I mean, I know it's just one attack, but, maybe that can help there. She's super fast. So I could see her playing into some PvP modes here where it's like, okay, they're going and she's got decent speed on her second turn. She gets some more speed. It can't be blocked. So, all right, it's pretty solid. T4 there. Additional 50% damage and a additional 30% crit chance. So, for a total of 50% extra crit, which is honestly pretty good. And especially if Scopely starts introducing more and more crit chance into the game. Her passive, Red Room upgrade. Oh, we've mentioned this before. On offense up, gains stealth. While this character has stealth, gain 50% crit damage. Lower the crit chance for all enemies by 10%. Lower the chance to assist on all non-attack abilities for all enemies by 25% per skill military ally, up to a maximum of 40%. So the T4s here is 100% crit damage, which is huge. That by itself is great. The lower crit chance for all enemies to a negative 25%, which is I like as well. So she's also potentially a counter to whatever's going to happen with X Factor, because maybe she reduces crit chance there. And then lower the chance to assist for the attack abilities for a max 100. This by itself, if you're going to use her against the Marauders and S&M Skilletary against the Marauders, this is absolutely required. And if you think you're going to use this team against anybody that's got those non-attack abilities, you have to have this. If this team doesn't or really can't counter that Marauders, I think right here, these T4s are still probably good enough. I mean, I'm really looking at this one. It's the crit damage. If she's got a high crit damage, crit attack, that by itself is a pretty decent T4. So, but again, this one, you have to have it if you're even thinking about the Marauder counter. So all in all, her abilities are decent. The percent damage-wise aren't, percent damages for the attacks are not huge. But, if she's got a decent damage, if she's a top 10 type damage, I'll take that. She doesn't have any necessarily attack alls or attack multiple times. It's really just a primary target. We've got attack primary target, and then ultimate is primary and adjacent. So she's really not doing a lot of AoE type damage. So that you want that damage stat to be really high. So let's go check out the specific stats. Okay, so now we're at the big spreadsheet. For those of you who are not aware, I have this giant spreadsheet where I calculate all of the stat rankings for the characters in the game. I basically put all the stats in at a certain baseline, which is level 75, 7 yellow stars, 4 red, T14, 25% star tech, and a passive level 4. And then I rank each column. So that way I get a general average stat. So you can see she's pretty close to the top here. I mean, we've got Dr. Doom at the top, and I'm covering her right now. But she's, down here at the 26th ranked character in the game, which is pretty solid. As far as the average rankings go, 55. We'll see how that ranks up, comparatively to the other characters in a second. But, like I mentioned, let's see if she's got the stats we really care about. All right. So first one up here, we've got health. She's ranked 96th. That's pretty bad. But honestly, if she stays stealth, you put her off into the corner, she doesn't take a lot of damage. That's probably not really that big of a deal. The one that I've already mentioned that we wanted really high was the damage rank. She's 9th. That is great. She hits just like Electro. There wasn't any piercing there, so that's not necessarily going to be higher. But that's you like seeing a damage ranking like that from a character that's really needs those type of stats, especially when they're focused so much on a primary target. Armor, again, pretty bad, but I mean, you weren't expecting that to be very high. Focus, 47th. Honestly, I would have liked that to be better, given that Disrupted ends up being so critical. I mean, if that misses, a lot of stuff falls apart, and you really want, you want that to be less of an or you don't want that to be as much of an RNG thing where it's just, all right, well, now I might not win because I didn't land this one ability. So I would have liked her focus to be a bit higher, honestly, top 20-ish there, maybe 30. I mean, she's a trained assassin. You'd think her focus is like super high, right? But I don't know, maybe we'll get some additional stats there from a friendly character. Resistance, again, not great. 76. But again, is that something? I mean, you always care about resistance. In this case, do you really, really care about it? Not as much. She's not like a tank or anything like that. But you don't want her to get slowed either. Her speed is really good. She's at 13th here, so that's really solid. So really the thing carrying her stats here is her speed and her damage. Everything else is kind of just like, yeah, ho-hum. You know, the with the focus being okay. Again, that's kind of what you expect from a character like this, except for maybe the focus being higher. I mentioned before that, you know, she comes in at 55th, which is basically from around, let's just go from 50 from Scream down, I'd say. You know, basically is where we've got her. You know, this is the group of people we got. You know, which is not bad. There's some pretty good characters. Emma Frost is in this range. She's one of the best characters in the game. You know, granted her kit is what makes her there, but her stats, you know, obviously are the other part of it. So stats aren't necessarily everything. I have to say though that Yelena's kit is nowhere near anything that Emma does. So even though she's in this range, you know, she's probably somewhere between like a, man, just looking at this team, maybe a Scream and a Ironheart, I'd say. You know, just if I'm just looking at this group as far as like functionality and ability to use, but with the exception that she might be a great PvP type character, especially when you pair her up with Longshot and Shatterstar. So, you know, when you've got these 50s here and then these other ones, you know, this whole group here is in the 40s, and then the top three are just like head and heels above everybody else. So, Yelena's a solid tune. I didn't get great reds on her. I think I got 2. I pulled a 2 on her, and I'm not planning on opening a bunch of orbs for her. So, honestly, I'm not going to do much. You know, red stars are unfortunately part of the game that really dictate how good a character is going to be. Because you could, you know, max somebody out, and if you don't have the red stars, then, well, sorry. You know, level 8 and gear tier 15 aren't going to really do much for you because you're at 2 red stars. I mean, it's okay, but without the red stars, it doesn't make that much of a difference. You need those red stars. So, hopefully this video helps you decide if you want to invest in the character or not. Again, I'm a little bit on the fence with her. I do find that I think she'll probably be pretty decent for some PvP situations, but right now that doesn't really matter all that much. You know, maybe war offense like we talked about, but is your Skilletary S&M team going to be the same strength as all the Marauders are going to come across? Probably not. So I don't know if I'm going to find... I don't know, I'm not going crazy here. I'm going to unlock her. I'll get an offer just because I got to do content and stuff like that. Test her out a bit. And then outside of that, she's probably going to sit there and just hang out until I really see something or find something that I can find some really, really good uses for. So, like I mentioned, hopefully this helps. Share it with your alliance mates, etc. Hammer down the like button. Got the link to the Discord in the description below if you want to come chat. Leave a comment in the chat below if you think I forgot something or if I went over something, or, you know, any comments you got related to the video or something you'd like to see in these character reviews is always appreciated as well. So hammer down on the like button, notification bells. I don't know, maybe I said that already. Anyway, I appreciate you guys stopping by, and until next time, I hope you have a wonderful day.